My name is Zach Nelson, and I am the manager of Everbridge's Global Insights team. Thanks so much for joining us for today's Rapid Resilience video. Today, we're looking to discuss West Africa, and I'm joined by our analyst, Ben Olsen, a returned Peace Corps volunteer who's spent quite a bit of time on the continent. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Thanks for having me.
So today we wanted to take a dive into the Alliance of the Sahel States. The French acronym is the AES. And Ben, I'm hoping you could tell us a little bit about this emerging bloc and what it might mean for businesses that are operating in or sourcing from West Africa.
Yes, the AEA is this new military economic bloc as a counterpart to the traditional Western-backed ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States. Each one of these nations, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, are currently ran by military juntas. Each one of them did have a coup against a democratically elected government using the ongoing Sahel insecurities, especially from jihadist groups that operate in the region, including JNIM, Islamic State of the Sahel, and Islamic State of the West African Province. ECOWAS wasn't too key on this development, and they did threaten in the early part of this year to have military intervention to keep them in the bloc, to keep everything together. However, that actually unified the now AES more than ever because each one of those nations agreed in a military fashion that if you attack one, you attack all of us, almost like today's NATO. From all this, development, what caused this void? And there's two things that really caused it. It was Western disengagement, aka the US change of foreign policy from giving aid, but trading it to trade, not aid, tit for tat. What can you give me for I can give you? And this growing anti-French sentiment that's very present in the region and is being uplifted by this Pan-African movement that has always been present, but is really gaining a stronghold by its now figurehead leader, Ibrahim Traoré from Burkina Faso. But what really led all this? It's being supplied and protected by Russia, no doubt. They have come forth and provided military aid. They have brought in military advisors. Africa Corps, which is the former Wagner Group, is in play here, and they are known to protect convoys, assets, and the like.
Could you tell us a little bit more about this Ibrahim Traore? What makes him stand out from the other military strongmen in the region? Why is he should he be viewed or considered as something more than just another junta dictator?
Well, he is very, let's say, popular on social media right now. He has come forth with this very big Pan-African saying, African problems require African solutions, to really tie in that they don't need outside help. They are going to solve everything on their own. And this was really shown, this positive message by the world. There was pro demonstrations in 20 cities worldwide on April 30th, not just in Ouagadougou, but also in Cape Town, Johannesburg, Addis Ababa, London, Paris, DC, and New York, right here in the United States. So this movement has a very big following and is really emphasizing a lot of things that Russia wants to hear. That Russia is protectors, that they're here to help Africa go through its problems and the like. Just to give a quick notice, like there are Russian flags flying next Faso in Ouagadougou. So Russia has a very big following here, and they're really happy about it.
So, could you connect the politics to the business reality for us? What is all this consolidation of power and kind of jockeying? How does it affect the bottom line for Western companies?
Yes. So with all this transitions via policies that these leaders are doing, they are nationalizing resources. They're getting rid of the IMF, they're getting rid of the World Bank. They don't want Western help. And key resources I want to bring up is gold and uranium. These are very key resources, one could argue, in the EV world and the energy sector. Mali, for instance, hasn't nationalized mines, so to speak, but they have come forth and put tightening restrictions, especially via taxes on Western firms. An example would be Barrick gold mines. Um, they have also signed a deal with Russian-backed funding to build a complex that will mine 200 tons of gold annually. Niger has nationalized uranium mines, especially targeting one, Anaco, which is a French-based mining company, and signed a deal trading tit for tat uranium for cash with Russia to work on that um, energy sector or weapons development. And like, we really don't know exactly what it is, but Russia is now involved. And we have Burkina Faso, which has nationalized most of its mining resources, saying that we need to keep cash within hands. But in short, to get that cash, who's going to be the partner? And it might be Russia. They have really integrated themselves into these three countries.
So, have we seen this trend, this consolidation of power, expropriation of private businesses? Have we seen that extend beyond the Sahel?
Very much so. So at first, with ECOWAS wanting to invade, which really solidified the AES, now a lot of these nations, part of ECOWAS, are kind of taking strategies from their own playbook. I'm only going to list a few: Togo, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Chad, and Cote d'Ivoire. I don't want to list everything that has happened, but they've all kind of followed the same strategies: centralizing authority, banning opposition from elections, changing constitutions, building partnerships with non-Western elements. And to give a big one right now in Guinea, bauxite will be the next resource that we really need to watch for. Bauxite, 25% of it comes from Guinea. They have removed 51 mining license, which has opened the door for, right now signed, a China mining firm, and it might open the door for Russia too.
Well, let's get to the so what. What should Western companies that are operating or sourcing from West Africa really take away from this?
There's five big things that we need to watch right now. Title and tenure. What we mean by that is expect nationalizations. The way these governments are coming together, a lot of them are juntas, or we're seeing authoritarian military trends using Pan-Africanism. That resource that you might have a business with might that whatever organization you are working with, private firm, especially if it was a Western-based firm, might be gone. Next would be supply chains. They are very fragile, especially when it comes to mining gold, uranium, bauxite, which will hit logistic, energy, and transport services. Third, access and mobility. What we mean by that is the threat, the Sahel threat that a lot of these juntas used to come into power are still in play here. Just to give an example, in Niger and Mali, there were attacks this week by jihadist groups. So that threat is still there. Next, sanctions and counterparty exposures. Now, with these nations working with countries that are heavily sanctioned, Russia, for instance, those resources might fall also under sanctions, especially coming from these countries, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and the many others that I listed that are being using their playbook. Lastly, the reputational headwind. I already briefed into it, but being a Western firm, Canada, US, EU, there's a very heavy anti-French, anti-West sentiment. Very well there. The storyline is quite what Russia wants. And by that, you might lose business as well. So it's all things that you need to keep your eye on and keep your head down and literally make changes where you need to, especially on a day-to-day news feed of what might come. This area is very changing on a day-to-day basis.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. Really appreciate you shedding some light on the subject for us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And quick reminder, Ben and the rest of Everbridge's Global Insights team are monitoring these developments and producing fresh intelligence every day. Here in Everbridge's Visual Command Center, you can see we're tracking a wide spectrum of risks, and not just for organizations with assets or operations on the ground here. Like Ben mentioned, Africa is a very resource-rich part of the world We've got rare earths needed for the soaring demand for things like electric vehicles, grid storage, but also petroleum, agricultural products, lots of different materials feeding global supply chains. So we watch for these local shifts that could ripple across the markets and try to raise that warning flag early. And every report is complete with detailed risk analysis, resilience, and mitigation measures. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe and stay resilient.